Hey guys, Operation Poor here. Welcome back to the mountain. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Operation Poor. Bienvenue à la montagne. Aujourd'hui, we're going to be talking about Minuteman, prepared citizen-esque, marksmanship, and this is really to give you a basis. I can't standardize a test for everybody or just say do the Army one, do the Marines one, do the Navy one, whatever.
Let's go check it
I
out.
can't do that because I don't know your current situation. When it comes to guerrilla warfare and prepared citizen-esque things, the doctrine is completely up to you. Things like your terrain, your area, your knowledge level, your group size, stuff like that. Also, we need to take into consideration, do you live in a populated area, like a more urban area? Do you live in the suburbs? Do you live out in the bush like I do? General stuff like that. Your terrain, in a sense of, is it just hills and mountains? Hills, mountains, trees? Is it desert? This all plays into what you need to train for and what your individual standards need to be. So I'm going to try my best to talk about the distances that you should be shooting at and then recommend some target types. Now, I know when I was in the Army, essentially what we would do is we would have a standardized test that every soldier, they called it qualification, that we would have to do every year. And it would be in the position standing, kneeling, and prone. I do say that if you do try to standardize a test for you and your group or just for yourself, having a variety of different positions and using different kinds of equipment is the way to go in that sense. I would recommend standing, kneeling, prone, but also sitting. I would add sitting in there as well. And I would add shooting off of barriers, using your equipment, using your bipod, as you see on my rifle right now in the footage. Using stuff like that. Your actual equipment, that's the thing. Using your equipment and your rifle that you would use if you had to go to war, so to speak. So let's look at the average combat distances or engagement distances in warfare currently.
Scram out the way, 200 yards. In theory, this should be relatively right at dead on. So, see what we can do, huh? Okay. There we go.
So typically, from conflicts such as Ukraine, what we can see is engagements from 100 meters on the lower end. Now, this is the average. 100 meters on the lower end up to about 300 meters. And while in theory, these rifles, typical, 5.56, 7.62, or 308 platforms, while they can shoot out to 5, 6, 7, 800 meters, especially in specialized roles like SPR, DMR setups, typically 300 meters is the farthest you need to actually engage out to. That's usually the upper echelon of the upper end of engagement distances in combat, and that is seen time and time again throughout the world. Subcategory is, like I said, if you're trying to be a sniper with the M110 sniper system, or essentially an AR-10 308, you're going to have a naturally more effective range than if you had a SBR 20-inch barrel 5.56. You're going to be able to effectively engage targets, precision targets, which is like a headshot at 600 meters if you get really good at it, up to U.S. Army sniper standards, or at least a center mass shot at 600 meters. And both of those is a very crazy shot. Now I want to take this time while you try to plan your course of fire for you and your groups and stuff like that. I also want to take off. I'm not promoting any militia activity. This is simply for gun clubs, or if crap hits the fan and foreign invasion or something happens. But while you're creating this for you and your Joes, you also need to keep in mind this. What exactly are you preparing for, and what is your purpose? Because if you are solely going to stay in the city in urban conflicts, you're really not going to be shooting above 200 meters, and that is the upper end right there. However, if you're going to be doing stuff out in the rural area, or if you live in a very open area, you very well could be engaging at 4, 5, 600 meters. You have to look at what you will be in, what's in your local area, and maybe even take a rangefinder out, literally just out on a walk one day and say, that'd be a good area, for an ambush or something, and just click that thing that way, and then you could see exactly the distance that you need to train. I'm not saying get schizo with it. I'm not saying, freak people out, but if you live in an area where multiple long-range engagements can be a thing, like that is a possibility, and it's not like over here where if it's not an open field, it's just trees and hills, and the engagement range is like maybe 25, 50 meters, if that, especially in the spring and summertime, then you need to focus more on long range. Basic rifle marksmanship, stuff like that, just effectively hitting targets at long range. Now, what kind of targets would I actually recommend shooting at? Small targets, smaller than a torso, because if you can hit those, you can hit a human-sized target. If you can hit those, you can hit a human-sized target in the prone, or you can hit a human-sized target behind some sort of concealment or cover. Let's say an arm is sticking out with a rifle pointing at you. That is probably a 10-inch target overall. So what I typically shoot at is like a milk jug, as you see here in the video. There's also a water bottle and a 2-liter. We're about 250 meters away currently shooting in the video. A water bottle, like I think it was a Smart Water, that's a really small target at that distance. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see. I do apologize. I'm shooting like an inch left of it and an inch right of it. Inch left of it and an inch right of it. And I got this janky tripod set up. But this is training is what this is. Every single one of these shots would have hit a human size, or we'll say a combatant size target at this distance. I would have effectively engaged and would have domed a combatant, a foreign invader or something at this distance, almost every single trigger pull, and I'm really confident in saying that. But I'm dancing around this water bottle and dancing around this milk jug at this distance to train myself to aim for smaller targets. There's an adage that goes around, aim small, miss small, and that is true. You don't want to aim for a whole purse or a whole combatant. I need to watch my language. You don't need to aim for the whole combatant. You need to aim for the center mass, the center of the combatant. That's the thing, and that's what a lot of people just don't understand. You're not just shooting, don't just pick a whole thing. Let's say you're shooting at a deer. We'll make this a little bit less schizo. You're shooting at a deer. But really, when you go deer hunting, or if you deer hunt, you know that you're not necessarily shooting at the whole deer. You're trying to shoot it in the heart, or depending on the angle, you're trying to take out both its lungs so it doesn't run very far. And it can be a quick, ethical kill. Or some people headshot it. But you're never looking at the whole deer and it's like, if I hit it in the butt, it's going to be fine. I don't care. I just want to hit it. When you engage at longer ranges, now this is specifically for longer ranges, when you engage at longer ranges, you have to have precision, not just accurate fire on a whole combatant, which could mean the foot, could mean the arm. You're trying to engage with precision in the middle of their chest or their head. Try to hit their heart or hit their head or their neck, something like that, versus just getting that reticle somewhat on the target and pulling that trigger real good. I promise you, you will get much more success doing that versus having big targets at long ranges. I've hit on this before. While PRS or precision rifle shooting is a crazy sport, and I definitely cannot be shooting out making shots to 1,000 yards like they do. I can't. I know that. I don't have the skills to do that. I also have to say I don't think most of them that compete in that have the skills to be an effective guerrilla sniper at those distances. The reason being is because those targets are bigger than a combatant size or an average human size silhouette. And we're talking about out in the open, not in cover, not with armor on. Keep this in mind, guys. If you're shooting at a target the size of a truck or a small barn at 1,000 yards, yes, it's impressive that you hit it, but it's not the size of a combatant. Hopefully I'm making sense. And when you sit here and you try to say, I can hit a target at 1,000 yards and it's that large, effectively what you're saying is, I have false confidence in myself. You have to be real with yourself here. While hitting a car-sized target at 1,000 yards is impressive, if it's not a combatant-sized target, it doesn't matter in the first place. So how we're going to do this is, you look at your area of operation and you go by that. For a general rule of thumb, try to stick right at 300, 350 meters and in. Work on different shooting positions and shooting from behind cover, standing, kneeling, sitting, and prone. That's pretty much it. Hopefully I'm making sense, guys. I know this was kind of quick, but let me know your thoughts down below. Au revoir. A bientôt. God bless you. See you next time on the mountain. Peace.